We've been going for 4.5 years now, but I feel in a way we've only just started. And the FIFA Congress was a great event because it brought the problems that the Palestinians have to the front to a much greater extent than been done before. I say we started in 4.5 years ago, but actually it's a very interesting fact that the first major effort against an Israeli team coming to Britain was in 2006. And they were playing in Glasgow. And one match was disrupted, one was cancelled, and the third match had to be held at RAF Lossiemouth behind barbed wire with Typhoon jets going around the perimeter because of the excellent demonstrations. Now you may have realised that wasn't actually soccer. That was cricket, believe it or not. It was cricket against Jersey, of all places. And I think it brings out the fact that the Israelis will try and get normalisation in any sport they can. They will have a team of anything, and they will be a member of a European federation. After that, I had a look. At that time, I looked a couple of years ago, there were 16 national federations in the European confederations. There were 16 sports where there was a European confederation, and of those 16 countries which were members of the European Sports Confederation, of the 16, 15 of the confederations had Israel, an Israeli federation as a member. So they'd managed to get in to virtually every sport at a European level, all part of the normalisation process. So you've got to sort of really wonder about this. Now, I just emphasise as well the football point that Gareth was making. The Israelis in the 1920s were trying to get Eretz Israel as a member of FIFA. And in the end, something called British Mandate Palestine were played in, I think, in the Olympics as well. But they were at it then to get to normalise themselves through sport. So it's an obvious target. All those sports. What's special about football as well? You might think, actually, it's got an emotional appeal. Which other boycott targets, the sort of commercial targets, maybe, certainly, and maybe some of the cultural events, they don't have such a wide emotional appeal to a population. So when we try and hit Israeli football, we've got some advantages over trying to hit commercial targets. And here in Britain as well, if you put a banner up at a football match, you're reaching a new sector of society. And that's something good. So that's an argument for us doing stuff. So we set up a campaign. After a while, we got these objectives down. Our global objective was to suspend the Israeli FA from FIFA and UEFA until Israel respects Palestinian human rights and observes international law. Now you can see for a start, we don't mention football conditions there. The Palestinians did. But we wanted to keep it general. And of course you can see straight away, we've got a problem here. Because the only way of suspending Israel from those organisations is a country standing up and calling for it, putting forward a motion, and then it should happen. Now, we know that the Palestinians were finally planning it this year, but it's a tough one. So we have to do a lot else as well to raise the profile of sporting boycott. And I've listed the three there. Short-term campaigns, spreading awareness, that are meaning to work at football grounds, And the third one, which we've not done very much about at all, you might like to think about that, direct support for Palestinian football through coaching and visits. Now, some things have happened in that area, and I think we can do a lot more. Now, I'd just like to show you some of the things we've done, just to talk about it, so you can see what we might do in future. But first, the way we'll get FIFA, the Israeli Football Association, in the end, is through Statute 3. Discrimination of any kind against a country, private person or group of people, etc., 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 strictly prohibited and punishable by suspension or expulsion. So that's it. Now, there's a picture. You can't tell the rain is pouring down. You can see that banner there with Kick Israeli Racism out of UEFA on it, because this was trying to get the the under-21 finals that UEFA was having in Israel switched. Now, we started off quite a long time before. We started off in mid-2011. They were preparing 2 years ahead. And Gareth has pointed out how we managed to get Canute, that was a French group, not Canute, and he went round and got his friends to sign up. The Russell Tribunal, I'm glad you like that, so we wrote the letter actually. Naomi, if you know her, good journalist. And it's, those signatures were of the Russell Tribunal people. And that's a fantastic source of power, authority. The Guardian lapped it up. We had two more letters since. One got in the Guardian, one got in the Independent. So you can use the big names. And PRC Patron is the same. We've got some big names there. So again, you can get those published. Also, I don't know if you mentioned this, Gareth, a group of Gazan Sports Club published a letter, an open letter, which went around the world. And we did lots of letters as well to UEFA, to the FA. We actually wrote to every single member of the FA, which is the English FA. A lot of work there, but maybe it will have influenced somebody. And then things happened that weren't stimulated by us, at least not directly. One MP introduced an early day motion in the House of Commons to say those games should not go ahead. So Bob Russell from Colchester, Lib Dem. Well, we got a petition going, and we got 8,000 signatures in the end, presented it to them. Fortunately, by that time, by the time we had this demonstration, which was just before the finals in Israel, Mahmoud Sarsad had come across, and we were very happy to have him there. Now, just for your information, it's another thing you can do. Well, we did. I don't know how many other things we can do, getting major players, major Palestinians to come to Britain and tour. And we fixed up the tour there. I mean, that lasted a week. He even went as far as Inverness, didn't quite get down to the extremities of the West Country, but he'd been around France as well. He actually found it pretty traumatic, I think, if you talked to him. He was talking about his torture at almost every event. Not nice. But he did it because he wanted to help us to make an impact. So, very pleased about that. What else? We were just sitting there quietly when UEFA announced they're going to restructure the way it did its Euro competition. It's a once every 4-year national team. The next one is 2016. We're having qualifying rounds now. But Euro 2020, they said we're going to have, instead of just one big final, we're going to have 13 tournaments, 12 build-up tournaments and one final tournament to spread the load, spread everything around. And they asked for people to nominate grounds where they would have the games. And for the 13 tournaments, I think there were 16 propositions, 17 propositions. Of course, the Israelis put forward a bid. And we thought we got a good one here because they foolishly put forward the Beitar ground in Jerusalem. Now, of course, as you probably know, no country in the West recognises Israeli sovereignty in West Jerusalem. All our embassies are in Tel Aviv. And so that was a quite powerful argument which we had against it. And also, I felt in a way we had an ally there, because the UEFA did a technical appraisal of these various grounds, the 16 grounds, and they really slated the Israeli proposal on technical grounds. You know, like no toilets in the right place and stuff like that. So we did well. And yeah, we got the big names there, as you can see, Kanute and Tutu. So another thing to do, that was quite self-contained. Now, something that goes on all the time, you may recognise it here on Twickenham and Richmond PSC on the right. That's outside QPR, match leafleting. Now, this is a big thing on raising awareness. And we noticed quite distinctly that after Gaza this year, people were more interested. You know, we got rid of, what, 300 or 400? We ran out of leaflets, we haven't got enough there. Apparently, in Liverpool, they got rid of 1,500 leaflets one day. And I think this is really important. And I think something everybody here can do. We've got loads of club representatives, obviously nobody from Chelsea, but we can get others. And it's a good thing to have people handing out leaflets, just educating. Every month, say, every alternate home game, something like that. And if people would like to do that, that would be really good. I think the groups in Newcastle and Middlesbrough have been very active, and some people have got out, some friends have got out really good banners which are club specific. Arsenal fans against apartheid, and Canaries against apartheid, and stuff like that. And those look really good. So, plenty more to do there. Did you mention the women's under-19 finals in Israel? Another little thing which came up, I couldn't believe it, but UEFA gave them it. That is the trophy. And it's just happened now, and the Swedes won. Israel, of course, got a bye because it was in its country. They did manage to score one goal. They lost all their games, got 0 points, and did quite badly. But, of course, they'll be delighted because they were hosts. And they had a special little training session, a joint training session with Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews, showing how broad-minded they are. So we did our bit here. We first of all wrote to UEFA telling them to move it in 2013. Then we told the English players about what was going on. And the final letter was, look, if you've got time, go to Hebron, go to Bethlehem, see what's happening. We didn't feel we could tell them to call the game off. Okay, and this is not the last. This is a street in northern Zurich, northeastern Zurich, where we are demonstrating outside the FIFA Congress on May the 29th this year. You see we've got our new banner there. You can't make out the 4-meter diameter green helium-filled sphere that said something about Israeli racism that the Swiss had got going. Most of the people here were French, 120 French, and about 10 of us, a few Germans, a German MP, really good. So we got decent links. In our email list, there's about 10 European countries who've got an interest in this topic. And if we've got time, I could just go through a bit of what went on there. This is what the Palestinians went for: suspension until free movement of Palestinian players, visitors, and officials. Let's have no more of the visiting Jordanian official forced onto his knees and blindfolded. Free import of football equipment. Raju makes a big point of having paid $10,000 for some equipment, and having to pay another 20 or 30,000 to import it through Israel, and it came a year or two later. No settlement teams in Israeli leagues. Now that's a wonderful, hard, legal point. Totally wrong. And no racism in Israeli leagues, thinking particularly of Beitar Jerusalem. Now this was written up in a very long, I mean a whole, one side of A4, very long proposal. Well, you heard, it didn't get through. Now what happens at FIFA is that they have meetings of the various confederations the days beforehand, the 6 confederations. And funnily enough, the Asians and the Africans said they weren't going to vote for installation. That's almost half of the membership. We felt pretty certain the Europeans wouldn't. They'd been fairly fierce, openly against it. And so, in the end, they decided to pull it. I think, it would have been 200 to 9. Now, instead, they put up this, which you'll see that items 2 to 6 are pretty well the same as they were before. But now they've, quote, got a monitoring group of international observers reporting to the FIFA Ethics, Legal and Discrimination Committee. Now that's what they put. That's what they submitted. And it was never actually presented whole to the delegates. Just bits were touched on by Blatter. You can watch the film. And this is what was on the screen, put up by FIFA as a, quote, solution. So the monitoring group was just going to be 3, the Palestinians, Israelis and FIFA. So where's the international observers who were going to bring independence? Gone. Free movement of players, yes, free movement of equipment. Settlement teams, not to be discussed. Racism in Israeli leagues, Beitar, not to be discussed. And they threw in something on facilitating building of stadiums, which was probably insisted on by FIFA because their officials had a really rough time trying to help the Palestinians build stuff. Under the Gold project, you go out, you help build a stadium, and they couldn't do it because of Israeli objections. So, what we have done, you no need to read this. First of all, we've confirmed that we want to go for suspension. Secondly, we requested FIFA to publish the Palestinian amendment. Again, quite a long document. What did they do? They just sent back those words that were on the screen. No mention whatsoever of the Palestinian text. So we wrote a press release, 22nd of June. We've got quite a good distribution list, highlighting the duplicity of FIFA. They're just trying to get around. They want to ignore the Palestinian document and just go ahead with what they've put on the screen. And so we made damn sure that all 209 FIFA members knew about it. So we wrote to them all. We've got a good data bank. We think emails will have got through to them. And there was to be a meeting on 28th of July, the monitoring group, but that's been put off until 26th of August at the request of the Israelis. So we will be following that up. Now, but the big thing now is this, which Gareth mentioned. The name for the campaign is Fair Play for Palestine. Wales versus Israel, 6th September. We had a meeting on the day of the away game in Cardiff, where we had some good speakers. But this is going to be a big rally. Buses were being fixed up. The PSC branch meeting at the weekend was talking about that. So people are getting ready. Let's talk about our next actions. And we can see how, you can see how you might be able to fit in somehow. And I start with my favourite phrase, it's not politics, it's human rights. We do have to thrust that back at everybody who says, oh, that's just politics. FIFA, we're going to keep on top of that. We've just got to push that. And I suspect there may need to be another suspension proposal in 2016. They've got the Cardiff event, Beitar Jerusalem. Now, after that disgusting display that Gareth mentioned in Charleroi, they should be forced out of this competition. The Israeli FA has always pussyfooted around in Beitar. And actually, guess who their main supporter is? Benjamin, Horde of Arabs, Netanyahu. So, that, no wonder they don't do anything. And so UEFA this time has got to do it. Now, their disciplinary committee works pretty slowly. There is this body so that you can see it on the website. So we are contacting them, and I don't think we've actually sent the letter off yet to tell them to do it. And another thing, just something has crept under the crept under the door in the woodwork. Friendlies. There were 2 matches last week or the week before where British teams went to Europe to play Israeli teams in little tournaments. And that's not acceptable. We knocked up an immediate position on one of them where we got 2,000 signatures. So that was good. But we've got to work at that, and that, of course, that sort of thing is up to the individual clubs. So we're going to have to contact the clubs in the UK. I mean, that's not a terrible job. It's 24 per league. So we'll be able to do something there. And demonstrations at any Israeli team visits. Now, there aren't many. This Wales one is unusual because it's only the second time ever that the Wales senior team has come to Britain. But there are, I think, 12 or 13 UEFA competitions. Well, add in, of course, the World Cup as well. We've got another one where an Israeli team might find its way here. A junior team, women's team. There's national club, men, women, senior, junior. So a lot of combinations there. And so we just have to be ready for those. Also, interestingly, right now this I don't think is going to influence us, but the FIFA World Cup does not have qualifiers in the same way as in other competitions. They've just announced what the European region group will be, what the games will be, and Israel is in the same group as Italy and Spain. So they are going to get well and truly hammered, which will be very satisfactory, but they're there. So the Italians and the Spanish, I'm sure, will put on a good demonstration. But they probably wouldn't get full points. So that's it, really. I think that we don't need to say much more right now on the exchange visits. We've got a website there, and if you want to see what the Palestinian FA does, this XS Sport Pal blogspot is really good. It's their record of everything that's got, of all the major incidents. So that's it. I hope you can see what we've done and get some idea of what can be done in future. Backgrounds and also writing letters and joining our group. If you'd like to join in the group, to send off letters to various people, set up petitions, then please do. Okay, that's it.
So this has been hosted by West London Palestine Solidarity Campaign. PS is part of a national organisation. It's very simple. We campaign for freedom, justice and equality for Palestinians. That's it. We try and do that all year round and all the time. And we do it in a whole number of ways, either through public meetings or through stalls or through showing films or through supporting actions and also being involved, individual members being involved in various BDS campaigns.